Now, we are all well aware of all the money that has been lost on the stock market and people's 401ks and everything since Donald Trump took office. $9.6 trillion has been wiped away from everybody's accounts. That's okay, because Howard Lutnick, who's the United States Commerce Secretary, he was on Face the Nation today, and he had this to say about the jobs that are going to be created in the United States now that we have these tariffs.
You realize trillions of dollars of factories are going to be built in America. That's huge GDP.
Now, everybody knows building a factory or a plant in the United States takes a long time. And Margaret Brennan, who's the Face the Nation host, she said that. And listen to his response.
The factories being built in America are huge.
That takes years. And you've said that robots are going to fill those jobs. So those aren't union worker jobs.
It's automated factories. But the key is who's going to build the factories, who's going to operate the factories, who's going to make them work. Great American workers,
So he just told you, as the Commerce Secretary under Trump, that you won't have a job, just the people who are going to build the plants. Now, mind you, let's just say this year they start building a plant, okay? They start building a plant, and by August, September, the plant is up and running. That job goes away. No one works that job after the plant is built. But then he says something about who's going to keep the factory running after it's been built. That's where you get the robots. Even if you got one or two guys that are just doing maintenance and repairs on certain screws and bolts or whatever, that's still not a lot of jobs. And Margaret Brennan brought that up as well.
You said
going
robots
to replace
on other
the
networks.
armies
So that's
of millions of people. Well, remember, the army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones. That kind of thing is going to come to America. It's going to be automated, and great Americans, the trade craft of America, is going to fix them, is going to work on them. They're going to be mechanics. There's going to be HVAC specialists. There's going to be electricians. The trade craft of America are high school educated Americans. The core to our workforce is going to have the greatest resurgence of jobs in the history of America to work on these high-tech factories, which are all coming to America.
Again, he's telling you what's going to happen. They're going to build the plants, right? Now, mind you, we don't have the plants yet. Even if Trump got rid of the red tape, you still got to build the plant. So, and it could take a year, 2 years to build. So let's say you go through that and you build the plant. Again, once you build that plant, you no longer have that construction guy, that pipe fitter, that electrician. They lose their job. But then he goes on further. He said, as far as keeping up maintenance, as far as keeping the lights on and keeping the floors mopped and keeping the nuts and screws fixed on the robot so the robot can fix the phone, he said that's going to be your job. But that is a limited amount of people doing a very small job. When he said something about HVACs and refrigeration or whatever, those are small jobs. Not a lot of people can run these factories. Not a lot of people are available to run those factories, which is why it's more innovative to put robots in those positions. But as far as maintaining those robots, very small amount of jobs. He's telling you what is going to happen in the future. And for Maga to say it's going to bring jobs, it's going to be great, we're going to have a lot of money up in here, it's going to be cheap, products are going to be cheaper, that's a lie. Because contrary to popular belief, the world is more globalized than ever. You may have screws in Indonesia. You may have boats in Bangladesh. You may have vanilla comes from Madagascar. You got, a lot of different things go into a lot of different countries in order to build a product. You want screws? Well, who's got the metal and the steel to create the screw? Who's going to truck the screw over? When you talk about gas and trucks and 18-wheelers, all those parts, all of that gets counted into your tariff. We pay that tariff. Even if you brought Nike here, where are you going to get the leather? Where are you going to get the cotton? Where are you going to get the components to make the shoe? Where are you going to get the components to make the components that make the shoe? It comes from the world. And Donald Trump just closed us off from that world. Not every country has every resource to make a product. You get gold from here, you get steel from here, you get diamonds from here, you get rubber from here, you get gas from here. Nothing is all, you don't get everything from one part of the world. And if you do, name it. It's not out there. Maga, once again, explain it. What do you think?